In the darkness, I find myself in a very different way. In the darkness, bro, I am the tense, callous intruder of the last minute to enter my mind. Then I dissipate as the process repeats again and again, but occasionally there is a deeper fortification, a deeper defense mechanism. And maybe in that process, believe it or not, maybe in that process I truly get set free. To have a permanent imprint, a permanent say. But then you're wondering, what is life? Life, as best as I've put it before, is coded, simulated. But what I can tell you is that life is a betting mechanism. So, in the process of the well-being, lay a reason, and it was why. And while there was a justification, which is that happiness matters most, and let's have a toast and so on, there was also too much of a gratification. Therefore, through the meaning of finding yourself is a curse, because if you truly do find that you are a gem and a beautiful person, maybe they will stop you on your way and unleash hell. Now, I've tried to let the pacifism lead to the beauty, and then my naked eyes could see nothing but blunt shoots, and I'd appreciate them for what they were. And then maybe I'd just disperse every worry. And maybe I'd let myself be freed from the worry entirely. And there are rigorous beings that play pretend in my rear view and that attempt to overcome me and turn me into a cynical, closeted disaster. See, the reason there is no light is because I won't see the light until it finally comes to be. But when I do see the light, and I'm the last one out of the mirage, then we can truly fucking go hard. I am a observer. I see the facts, I see the rhythm, and I let it be my ammunition. But what does it mean for a mind that doesn't adapt in due time to then do so right on the blink of an eye when you least expect it? It just happens to be a drug, and then you are your own self, and life has some kind of meaning again. Because there was for a long time there. was always the search for meaning, don't get me wrong, but maybe it didn't amplify into an actual love. Also, I want to say some things, okay? There are beings that rule the world. Listen, I'll just get the fucking skeleton out of the closet, okay? There was a point in time where I became convinced that I own everything. And what that meant was not that I could go into a Wendy's and say, hey, I want free food because I own you. You know, I was to play the same game as everyone else. But what I meant by that is that in the search for everything, there was a search for me. And then some spiritual beings started gaining the ability to find me. Okay. And then they played their practical role. Then they mostly just moved on. And sorry, I'm just looking at the time and I'm like, it's only been that long because I feel like I've shared the whole world at this point. Like I feel like I've shared the most passionate speech ever, and yet it's only been that long. But I'm used to like 20-30 minutes by now with the amount of intensity that's been in my mind. Because I lose track of time really easily because time stands still. People have never understood what that means. Time stands still. What do you mean? Time moves forward, Matt. But time is imagined. So how does time not stand still? They say time is relative. Sure. But maybe time is a mental disorder away from bending into pieces because the human had the power over the time. Maybe there is a element of a bargain that happens in the backing of our world, and that leads to the segregation of the consciousness, and in that process there are wholly involved beings mentally and emotionally. So I do think they're more than a figment of imagination. I think they're very real. And there are beings that exist in order to captivate the world or to leave it asunder. And they are an existence besides me. As long as I overcome them, they do not hurt me. But overcoming them, it's on a day-by-day basis. But what does it mean to overcome them? It means to be one with yourself. It means to see the comfort and the happiness and the hope. And I just try to see that in the rudimentary lie is a comfort. And the thing is maybe it diverts my mind into a submissive mode. And maybe in that process I am trying to understand it all, but without holding the hand of the girl, and without bro-fisting the man, and without being one with the world, then I'm done regardless. And I just feel like, in a way, I feel like everyone has seen me, but I cannot help but to describe it as being from past fragments of time. But regardless, I feel like in order for those fragments to stay alive, they need a knower. So the point is that I've been too harsh on one thing. I've been too harsh on my mentality. Therefore, it had the right to reciprocate. And no one will understand that one. But I feel like it's the whole truth. But eventually, in time, we got to getting along. At least for the most part. And that's despite the fact that most people, if they're destined for paralysis, or if they're destined for a crooked eye, or if they're destined for something like that, they just receive it. They do not dodge it. I dodged a crooked eye. And what I mean is I unrotated my eye, and I know that there was a moment in time where there was a chance that I didn't have an eye anymore, a right eye anymore. And then 5 minutes after the fact, I just unrotated the eye by moving my arms in a sort of poignant way. I lifted my arm up. I lifted my arm, both of my arms up. I also, it really made me think about how there was a complication in the mentality, and there was a complication in the physicality, and it woke my mind up to what it means to be alive. And I found out that in my earlier videos, sorry to change the subject so drastically, but I feel it kind of connects. I found out that in my earlier videos there was kind of like an immaturity where, yes, I was struggling, but maybe I could have like chilled out about it. I don't know how to explain it other than there must have been too many psychotic waves on my mind, because I could have just, I chilled out about it. Instead, I became the biggest loon in a way or two. If you don't think I was still myself, because I'm always still myself. But, yeah. I think that my schizophrenia at this point, it's a representation of the reality. And what I mean by that is, okay, so there are core annoyances, right? Such as when I bend over, this guy shows up, and when I look in my water bottle, this girl shows up, and blah, blah, blah. There are setup annoyances. But I want you to consider something, okay? If there are infinite societies out there beyond ours, which would happen with infinite time, then they have the ability to multiply. Overpopulation could be a problem here. Think about what that means. They have the capability to multiply. And then what if they take over the world and manage to own the world forever? Because you think that's how the world would truly begin? Anyways, the point is that in that process, is the inevitability of the matter, but maybe it is not factual regardless in the present time. So then you ask yourself, what does that mean yet to occur? But there is a time where there's a very real possibility, probably like 100% to me, it's 100, that realities get replicated. In fact, how does it not happen daily to a reality? What I mean is, let's say like there's a tragedy that's easy to avoid. Reality restarts, tragedy gets avoided. I mean, how do I put it? I feel there's tragedies that have been avoided upon me. Okay, that's how you put it. I feel like I've avoided tragedies. I've avoided nightmares. Okay. And I know I'm just some guy who doesn't have the societal credit, but I'm just speaking my truth. The thing is what if it's happened before? What if, like, for example, U.S. president, okay, so Trump, the best way I can put it is that he got shot at, and that's unusual. But wait, that's unusual. Obama, in a time where the black race was only half accepted, became the president. And people started loosening their racist tendencies quite a bit by then, but does that mean that someone wouldn't have shot at the fucking guy? Yet in 8 years, Obama never got shot at once. And all I can think at that point is that if he's never been shot at, then what if there is a literally more than a change in the mentality? What if, okay, so look, to get a person out of their inhibition to do something, okay, you have to remove that inhibition completely. Almost like it still has to play out. But if you let the imagination of the originating force, okay, create the pathway for the consciousness to form, then there comes to be that point in time where someone would want to shoot up Obama. But he doesn't do it because that urge is put in a different reality that no one but him will see. It's really not that complex of a theory, even though people think it is the most complex thing ever, because our consciousnesses live simultaneously, and therefore we are to not be experiencing such a thing, you know. Except that proves that we live off of each other. Now, what does that even mean? You know? What if we all have an unwritten agreement to let ourselves pull through because it's not us? Anyways, and then parts of you come into the new world, either extremely minute, non-existent, quad-existent. And the point is that it deviates an attack. Listen, the United States is the most, it is literally the most well known in a pretty big way. I mean, it definitely shakes the world. It is one of the most well known countries easily. And in terms of the pragmatism in its format, it is seen as a very good solution for us. But the thing is that in the in the curse of the matter is that there is an undeniable truth in how we are seeing exactly what we are to see, okay, and how our destiny is our command. So why do some people end up shot up? So why do some people get fucking killed? Do those people get saved in a different reality? Do those people face the erasure, or do they get out? And all I can say about that is I hope they do get out. But what I can tell you, okay, is that I've dodged death. It's undeniable to me. Okay? Based on my experiences in life, if you're going to go as far as to say that you're hallucinating an entire vehicle that just appeared in front of you, and that you were walking on the middle of the goddamn pad in the first place, and that in the process of just seeing the damn vehicle, it's like I must have been run over. Then I started noticing this like pain on my head. It felt like this very minute, condensed version of pain that genuinely happened. Okay? It just didn't happen to me. But it was connected to me. And the thing is in the moment where I survived, I started thinking, what if in the past before this life, what if I had vouched for myself? This is something that made sense to me because I survived. But a part of me came out to die. Okay, so let me tell you what I mean, okay? So in order to survive something like that, because that was the hidden indicator that it happened. But in order to survive something like that, there has to be one thing in particular, okay? There has to be a replacement. However, like in the reality, you have to like replace in a certain position. And that means that they control every dead body. Like they decide where they go. And the point is that there is a moment where it comes to be erased. Like there's a moment where the previous element of time comes to be erased for the new element of time. But you ask yourself, how does this affect the rest of the world? Well, maybe the people that live away from the incident, which is all of them in that moment, maybe they just don't need to know, because maybe it simply happens, but then like it simply happened through a hidden means. But then you ask yourself, what if you're just concealed from the danger? What if the world you were living in is the world where you died? And you are just falling down this hole and dying more and more. Because people underestimate how easy it is to die. Every time you cross the damn street, you could die. Simply because a car hits you. Yet people underestimate how easy it is to die. They think, oh yeah, there's maybe like a few thousands that get hit by a car. You know what I think? There's the thought in mind that, like, if the perfectionist application came forth for an idea like this, there wouldn't be any crime. But there's still quite a bit of crime. But I'm wondering if a lot of crime is diminished. Okay? Now listen, I know powerful icons can die. But let's be real about it, okay? The president has so much fucking power. And that just doesn't happen once. I'm glad it didn't happen, don't get me wrong. I'm glad it didn't fucking happen. Because I thought, Obama he wasn't one of the worst ones. You know, like from other times, he was. I mean, I don't know much about Jimmy Carter, but that seemed like a nice guy. But anyways, the point was that there was an internal blasphemy that came out maybe like a few days before, and then Obama in a different reality died, and then this Obama kept on going. The Obama that saw everyone, and everyone saw him. They're like discarded realities, maybe. That's what I mean by that. Although they keep on existing. And then maybe the people get regrouped along the way. But yeah. The point would be that in the duplication is a safety, of course, but then you ask yourself, well, I think that there are select, I'll just put it this way, I think that there are select celebrities and billionaires and millionaires that own us all, but they're not the majority of them. But they own us all, and then some pranks will be pulled on, because the world is controlled by chess pieces, I could swear. The people were all controlled to fit a dynamic, to fit a goal. We're all controlled to fit a goal. And the thing is that there's a strategic play behind a bombing or murder or mockery, such as theft. Okay? There is a strategic thinking behind it. It's just not good for us. But if you consider that some beings succumb to their inevitabilities, and you're talking people that are prone to be psychopathic, then it only equates to some of the world being mocked. And that's why there's a third world. That's why there's havoc. Hey, I was considering the implication of summoning products out of thin air. I really was. And so, I asked myself, how deep would the danger go? Would it even make sense for me to summon products for a populace of people that had a say in the matter? Would it even make sense for me to be able to do it? Because it's too daring, it's too risque, it's too bold. It will change the world forever based on one person's merit. It might even shut out a company or town. You know? Like, that's the part that fucks you up about it, is the responsibility is everything. Okay? So then you think to yourself, how do you even survive that ordeal? So then you start to think, I guess I can put it in few words. The collaborative element is key. And then I'm talking to my own self. I say talking to my own self, right? And then I tell myself that it probably would happen under a duplicated setting. Meaning that I would simply exist for my own sake. Okay? And that there are too many businessmen that would want nothing to do with me for the plan to ever pull through on a spiritual basis. Okay? That's my logical thinking in action. And the truth is in my inevitability, I still consider it to be like 1% possible, maybe a number that I'll keep to myself as the actual number. But I think I'm not the only one. Listen, there's a point I'm trying to make to you, okay? Is what if some people have done it before on this planet, this exact planet, but they've been taken away from the populace, and they did not accommodate the history books, and then ended up just dying just another person. And then the consciousness followed along the pathway never to return in order to be a materialization genius. Look up materialization, okay? Now, I know I've chatted about this once or twice before, a few times at least. The thing is I think in the doomsday of materialization is dependent on two things. Did you create it yourself? And are you taking from a spiritual demonic entity? The truth is, maybe the whole world is a spiritual demonic entity. I can feel that very strongly, and maybe if you enter a duplicated world, you're guaranteed to be within a demonic entity's reach. And the only thing I could really say about it is that there's a deeper wisdom in it, but it's an easy way to clean up the problem, to someone who has the ambition to outthink the world and to game the world to their advantage. It is a good way to get rid of them, to just send them off on their separate path. And the thing is I am haunted, so take my words with a grain of salt at least. I am haunted daily, which means I experience the supernatural. I experience the occult, okay? And there's an undeniable fact in how my life experience is not completely realistic. Anyways, I'm just gonna go. I think that you're dope. And thank you for watching. And I just wanted to put some thoughts out there about the world. I think this is my best video. But I've said that lately, maybe once or twice before. Or maybe I haven't. But I'd like to say it right now. Probably my best video. My best video. For real. And I'd like to give a shout out to myself. Peace out.